The singer Yaroslav Evdokimov, most widely remembered for his iconic and heartfelt song Fantasier, has passed away at the age of 78. His departure marks not only the end of a long and celebrated life but also the close of a chapter in the cultural and musical history of Eastern Europe, particularly in the post-Soviet space, where his voice became an enduring part of the collective memory. The announcement of his death came through the Russian news agency TASS, which cited a moving statement from his wife, Irina Krapivnitskaya. According to her, the artist succumbed to lung cancer after a courageous battle with the illness, one that he endured with dignity, hope, and the quiet strength that characterized both his life and career. His passing was not sudden, but it still felt like a shock for many, as the idea of living in a world without his deep, resonant voice seemed almost unthinkable to those who had grown up listening to his music or discovered it later in life. His family, in their grief, expressed heartfelt words that captured the bittersweet essence of his journey. This morning, our beloved dreamer, Yaroslav, has left us. We thank you, dear viewers and listeners, for your love towards the work of this great artist, for your attention and applause. We are grateful for your warm words and wishes. They greatly supported Yaroslav, giving him strength and the belief that he sang many beautiful songs and that his life was not lived in vain, the message read. It was not only an announcement of a death, but also a poetic tribute to a man whose life was built around dreams, songs, and the invisible threads that music spins between a singer and his audience. Calling him their dreamer was fitting, for Yaroslav Evdokimov's work often carried themes of longing, imagination, and the restless pursuit of something beyond the ordinary. For his wife, his family, and those closest to him, he was more than a performer. He was a husband, a companion, and a father figure whose daily presence, warm humor, and passion for music brought light into their lives. Yaroslav Evdokimov was born on November 22, 1946, in the city of Rovno, which is today known as Rivne, Ukraine. His early life was shaped by a world still healing from the scars of war. He came of age during a time when the Soviet Union was in the midst of transformation, and like many artists of his generation, his personal story intertwined with the broader story of the region itself. His voice, powerful yet tender, became a reflection of that period, capable of conveying both the struggles and the hopes of ordinary people. Even in his early years, those who heard him sing would often remark that his voice carried an unusual depth, a quality that could move listeners even when he sang simple melodies. Eventually, Evdokimov's path led him beyond his birthplace. He found a new home in Belarus, a country that became an important setting for his artistic career. It was there that he settled with his wife and began to carve out his place in the cultural landscape. His contributions did not go unnoticed, and in 1987, he was awarded the prestigious title of People's Artist of Belarus, a recognition reserved for those whose work had achieved exceptional artistic and cultural significance. Nearly 2 decades later, in 2006, he was honored once again, this time with the title of Meritorious Artist of the Russian Federation, further solidifying his legacy as a figure of cross-cultural importance, beloved not only in one country but across the broader region of the former Soviet Union. His repertoire became a treasured collection of songs that spanned decades and touched millions. Among the most famous of his pieces were Fantasier, Za Dunyam, Kaliny Kust, and My Sky Vals. These songs were more than just musical works, they became emotional markers in the lives of countless listeners. Fantasier in particular stood out, a song that carried a sense of wistful longing, of dreaming beyond life's limitations. The melody and lyrics resonated with audiences who found in it both personal solace and collective identity. The song earned him not only fame but also the affectionate nickname of Dreamer, a title that followed him through the years and became almost inseparable from his public persona. Songs like Za Dunyam and Kaliny Kust drew from the rich cultural traditions of Eastern European music, blending folk elements with popular forms in a way that felt authentic and deeply moving. My Sky Vals, or May Waltz, offered listeners a romantic escape, a musical painting of joy and celebration that stood in contrast to the more somber or nostalgic tones of some of his other works. What tied all of these songs together was Evdokimov's unmistakable voice, a voice capable of soaring into passionate crescendos yet also able to quiet itself into intimate whispers that seemed to speak directly to the heart of the listener. For many people in the ex-Soviet space, his music was not just entertainment but a soundtrack to everyday life. His songs were played at weddings, family gatherings, national celebrations, and even moments of private reflection. They accompanied people through times of joy, sorrow, love, and separation. In a way, Evdokimov's music became a bridge between generations, something parents could pass on to their children, who in turn discovered the beauty of melodies that seemed timeless. His popularity endured not only because of the quality of his music, but also because of the sincerity with which he performed it. He was not an artist who chased fleeting trends. Instead, he built his career on the foundation of emotional truth, something that audiences recognized and cherished. Even as his health declined in recent years, Evdokimov remained closely connected to his audience. Letters, messages, and warm words from fans reached him in his final months, providing comfort and reminding him that his art had made a difference. For him, this was one of the greatest validations of his life's work, the knowledge that he had not sung in vain, that his voice had touched hearts, and that his songs would live on long after he was gone. The story of Yaroslav Evdokimov is also a reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of art. Born in a world vastly different from the one we know today, he witnessed historical upheavals, cultural transformations, and the rise and fall of entire systems. Through it all, he carried with him the simple but profound gift of music, which he offered generously to the world. His songs outlasted political changes, technological revolutions, and personal hardships, and now, even in his absence, they continue to echo, keeping his spirit alive. His passing at 78 leaves behind not only a grieving family but also countless fans across countries and generations. For them, his death is not just the loss of an individual but the fading of a cultural beacon, a reminder of how certain voices can define eras. Yet, just as his family noted in their farewell message, his life was not lived in vain. His music remains, and with it, the memory of the dreamer who once sang to the world, urging people to believe in beauty, imagination, and the timeless bond between artist and audience. And so, as we remember Yaroslav Evdokimov, we do not only mourn his passing but also celebrate the life he lived and the songs he left behind. In every note of Fantasier, in the haunting refrains of Iza Dunium, in the romantic rhythms of A My Sky Vals, his presence endures. He may be gone from the stage of life, but in the stage of memory and music, he continues to perform, forever the dreamer whose voice will never truly be silenced. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us in comment section below. Thanks for watching. The silence left behind after the death of Yaroslav Evdokimov is difficult to describe, because for so many people his voice was not simply sound, it was memory itself. To lose him is to lose a piece of the soundtrack of an entire generation's life. When his family spoke of him as a dreamer, they were pointing not only to the title of his most famous song but also to the way he lived and carried himself. He was a man who believed in possibility, in the transformative power of music, in the ability of art to cross borders and transcend time. Those who saw him on stage often recalled how his eyes seemed to hold faraway places, as though he was singing not only to the audience before him but also to unseen horizons and to the inner landscapes of his own imagination. That quality made him more than an entertainer, it made him a companion to those who listened. His songs were like letters that spoke to the hidden corners of the soul, and for that reason his death felt deeply personal to many who had never met him in person but had carried his voice within them for decades.